Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA, and I am back in Reading Terminal Market. Now, the last time we came here, we came to review Dinnix, and we came at an off-peak time, and it was not super crowded, but now it is more what it's typically like. It's really, really crowded, almost shoulder to shoulder, really crowded place, and yeah, we were lucky to get a table, but the reason we're here is not necessarily to sample all the eclectic food options they have here. And they have all sorts of options. They got Chinese food, they got Italian, they got even like Amish food and stuff like that. But the reason why we're here is because there is a spot here that you guys have been asking me to review for a while now. Hershel's Deli. Now, we've reviewed tons of Jewish delis on this channel. Of course, the great Katz's Deli, but we even went all the way to LA to review Langer's Deli, and all the way to Montreal to review Schwartz's Deli. And yeah, I gotta say, it's a close tie for number one between Langer's and Katz's, and Langer's is probably the slight edge, I would say, but it's pretty close. But this spot, Hershel's, you guys have all recommended for so long. I consistently get comments for Hershel's in Philadelphia's Reading Terminal, and yeah, I mean, this place, Reading Terminal, I mean, it's a relatively touristy spot, although locals do eat here as well. But yeah, it's a very like commercial spot, I guess I meant to say. But if people say that Hershel's in Reading Terminal is one of the best pastramis, and many of you also say that it's as good as Katz's, if not better. So we're gonna try it now. We're gonna see if this Philly Jewish deli really hits the spot. And Philly is actually an underrated spot for Jewish delis, or at least some of the suburban areas like Cherry Hill are actually pretty good. Let's check this place out and see if it's all it's cracked up to be. Do you do like half and half sandwiches, like half pastrami, half? Okay. Can I do half pastrami, half corned beef?
Do you like any toppings?
Just mustard, just rye and mustard. Let me also do a matzo ball soup.
Smaller.
Small. Do you guys do egg creams?
We have an egg cream. No, sorry.
No egg creams? Okay.
Because we don't have milk.
I'll do a Dr. Brown's cream soda.
$23.50.
Okay. All right, guys, so we just got all our food from Hershel's, and it looks like, for here, it looks like they only do these takeout bags, unless I didn't specify, unless this is just their default, so to say. But let me show you what we got, and, you know, people compare this place to Katz's Deli. For all this food, everything in this bag was 23 bucks, while Katz's Deli, a sandwich alone is 28 bucks, so, yeah. Go figure. So let me show you real quick. All right, so unfortunately they don't do egg creams, but we got the next best thing, a Dr. Brown's original cream soda. So, you know, gotta have one of these. And then a combination sandwich. And ooh, this is feeling really hefty. This is a combination half pastrami and half corned beef. And it's piping hot, and it's it feels pretty generously sized just through the bag, so can't wait for this. You guys know me, I gotta go with a matzo ball soup. I don't think they gave me a spoon to drink it with. Let me go ask for one real quick. First, let's try the matzo ball soup, why don't we? Oh, it's sealed pretty tightly and it's piping hot. I feel like I'm gonna burn myself trying to open this guy, but all right, we managed to open this guy without burning our hands off, and just look at how piping hot this is. You saw earlier when they were scooping that matzo ball just straight into the chicken soup, and yeah, the chicken soup I've seen clearer for sure. I get the feeling that this is not going to be among the best chicken soups we've had. Drinking it out of a to-go container, you could definitely do better for vehicles, but it's a takeout only place, so I get it. So let's give this place a try, why don't we? And let's mix it up so that it's all integrated. And then let's try some of the broth first. Ooh, piping hot. Actually, it's actually not bad. So yeah, it actually tastes pretty decent. You know, it's not one of the more clear and pure tasting broths I've had, but it's got like a nice oily chicken flavor if you can kind of see it from like the droplets there. Like it kind of has like a bit of a, you know, the chicken oil umami taste, which I really like. It is a little bit overly salty, if I can be honest. Like it's a little bit too salty, but otherwise it's generally not bad. Yeah, no. It's actually definitely way too salty. But if they tone down the salt, it will taste better. But let's try some of the ball though. Some of the matzo ball. I don't know if I can cut a piece of it. It's just completely swimming around in this. I think plastic utensils and matzo balls don't really mix because it's often not strong enough to prevent the ball from rolling around. So let's try the matzo ball and see how it is. I mean, the matzo ball itself has pretty good flavor. It's got a good texture, it's got a good consistency. It's neither too soft nor too hard. Like if you look on the inside, the meal is a good recipe. Like it's a good matzo recipe. But I just gotta say, this whole thing is just way too salty. Like the soup is too salty, but in liquid form it's less noticeable. But the matzo ball itself, maybe there's salt in it in itself, but then it kind of soaks up the salt from the broth. So this whole thing is just way, way, way too salty. And I know a lot of you guys kind of take issue with me often saying that things need more salt, but in this case, it's saying a lot if I think this is too salty, because it is. Actually, I'm pretty sure that the matzo ball is saltier than the broth. It's a shame, because it tastes pretty good. It's just that if they dialed back the salt a little bit, it would be better. They had no egg creams, very sad, but this is the next best thing for sure. So, let's give this a try. No, it really is like the perfect complement to like super salty food. And it's gonna go even better with the saltier pastrami and corned beef. It's time for our combination pastrami and corned beef sandwich. Just warn Tina about the salt content of the soup while she finishes that off. It's really
salty.
It's really salty, right? You can't even drink it, right?
Yeah.
So Tina agrees. Tina just added a bunch of water into it. Tina agrees. So, but open this guy up. Hopefully these salted meats will not be as bad. And I think this place, Hershel's, is more known for reubens because they immediately asked if I wanted toppings, and it did seem like they were plugging their reubens the most. But yeah, so one of these is pastrami and one of these is corned beef. Can we tell which is which? Hard to tell at first. This one here is the pastrami because you can see pieces of the pepper bark on the outside. Unless they made a mistake and gave me two pastramis. But yeah, this is probably corned beef because it doesn't seem to have as much of the bark. And my apologies, because the lighting is not necessarily the best here. Both of these look pretty good, and they were hand slicing the pastrami and I believe the corned beef. I always like when they hand slice the meats. Shows they have confidence in their product to leave thicker pieces as opposed to machine slice it as thin as you possibly can. So, looking pretty good. All right, Philly's best pastrami sandwich. How will it compare to all the great ones we've had in New Jersey and New York City so far? And around the world too. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, all the people comparing this place to Katz's Deli, I'm just gonna end that right now. Sorry, it doesn't really compare to Katz's at all, but it is pretty solid. I think I am impressed. I think this pastrami is mostly lacking in a few areas. Let me show you closer. I think, first of all, just looking at it, it just looks more lean, right? So the pastrami is super soft, but it is not nearly fatty enough. I wonder if I could have requested more fatty cuts, but I just asked for a pastrami and a corned beef, and if this is their standard, then it just shows that their pastrami overall, like the navel meat, could be more fatty that they're using. It's a little too lean, and I'm impressed that despite being so lean, it still falls apart in your mouth so easily, but it could be more fatty just to add more flavor, more fatty oomph flavor. I would say there's not nearly enough bark bark. I mean, there's not nearly enough bark. I mean, when I opened it, I had to like take a close look to make sure this was pastrami because I see pieces of the bark in there, but there's not nearly enough bark to kind of offset the, you know, the beefy, lean flavor. So there could also be more pepper bark in that regard. But I will say what I like about it. I mean, the bread is pretty good. I would say that I think that the Katz's Deli bread can be a little bit too soft, like kind of like grocery store bread. I think the color of this pastrami is excellent. Like it's nice and appealing and aesthetic, and the pieces of the bark that I am able to eat are quite nice and add like a nice contrast in flavor. And as stated, this pastrami, you know, they're hand slicing it for a reason. I mean, just look at how tender this pastrami is. Look, I can't even pick it up. Like it's just falling apart like in my hands when I try to grab a piece to show you. Look, it's just literally falling apart like in my hands. So it is very, very tender, which I'm surprised at, given that it's very, very lean. I think this pastrami is pretty good. You know, it's not bad. Unfortunately, I don't think it compares to the best places in New York, but it's pretty good. And if you like a good lean pastrami, you'll like this. Don't get me wrong though, I'm comparing it to some giants. I mean, it is still overall excellent. If you're in Philly, you can't get to New York, or if you're coming from anywhere else in the US, besides maybe LA or some places, maybe Chicago or somewhere, you're gonna think this is fantastic. And honestly, I think there's a reason why they mostly push the reubens, because I think this place might be more of a reuben place. If you want the pastrami to stand on its own, you really want it to be fattier. So now I see why they're more of a reuben place. By the way, check out Tina's breakfast slash brunch. I mean, this place, Reading Terminal, man, I mean, some people say it's touristy, but I think they got some pretty good stuff. I mean, these look like some pretty amazing pancakes. All right, guys, time to finish the review with a corned beef. And actually, I need more Dr. Brown soda because that matzo ball was just so salty that, now it's like, I still like taste that salt in my mouth. Time to try the corned beef. And woo, look at that wonderful color on this corned beef. Looking promising. I could be wrong about this, but I think corned beef just in general might be less fatty than pastrami usually. So this corned beef is looking really promising. I think some pieces of pastrami got mixed in though, but let's give this a try. Wow. Oh, I gotta take another bite. Another corned beef. The pastrami is good. Like I said, it's good, but it's not great. But I think if you come here, definitely get the corned beef. The corned beef was fantastic. Wow. That might have been one of the best corned beef sandwiches I've ever had. I think maybe even better than places like Katz's, and David's Brisket House also does a good corned beef too, but that corned beef was good. It was definitely one of the best I've ever had. And the corned beef is just less fatty. It's more lean. Like with pastrami, I usually like for pastrami to be more fatty. I think that makes more sense given that, you know, the fattiness works well when it's smoked and goes with like a pepper bark. Like pastrami is almost kind of like barbecue brisket in a way. But the corned beef, mostly boiled, you know, you kind of want it to be more lean in a way. And it just, I don't know, like they've just really mastered the corned beef here. And with the corned beef being so good, I don't think they added more mustard. It just makes like the mustard kind of stand out more in a way, like less competing flavors. And it doesn't hurt that I think they have some pastrami pieces accidentally mixed in, you know, when they were assembling the sandwich. So that also makes it taste pretty good too. But guys, go with the corned beef here. The corned beef here is fantastic. Matzo ball soup, you know, way too salty. Pastrami sandwich, good, but not great. But the corned beef, fantastic. And this is literally as good as any corned beef sandwich I've ever had. So, and the perfect accompaniment. Wow, what a great brunch this has turned out to be. Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna be it for this video. We reviewed everything that we came here for. It really is a shame they don't do egg creams, but I guess it is Philadelphia, so it's a New York style deli, but we're not in New York, so maybe most people here don't know to order it. But all in all, I'm very impressed by this Hershel's place. You know, I had some nitpicks, but overall I still enjoyed what I ate, and that corned beef was fantastic, and I'll be thinking about it for a while. I think every time I come back to Philly, I might grab a corned beef sandwich for the road. So what do you think though about Hershel's Deli? Do you think Hershel's Deli lives up to all the great Jewish delis of New York City? And what's your favorite Jewish deli in this Philly area, New York, anywhere else in the world, Chicago, LA, you know, Canada, England, wherever? Let me know in the comments because great minds eat alike. And as always, if you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video, and I'm not wasting a single bite of this corned beef. So if you come to Reading Terminal, make sure you try it. So until next time, I'll see you later.